Hey, it's your friend the neighbourhood bus driver Ant, and we're back. And it's been a while since we made a video out and about on the road, but today, obviously, I'm on day off, and I wanted to show you a little bit of stuff that I've got here. So some of you might have seen this week, I put a tweet out, obviously, about not being very well. I had an eye infection, a dual eye infection actually. I had 2 lots of antibiotic course treatments. So I was like, oh, I really can't record because I look like a zombie. And on top of that, I've been mentoring. I've been out with a new driver, and a couple of you stopped me and said, hey, what's mentoring really about? What's it all about? And what do you do? And you should make a video about it. It sounds quite interesting. So here I am, sat down today with the T-Rex, my face, and in my civvies to talk about mentoring and what it is we do when it comes to a mentor. So what is a mentor? Well, a mentor is quite simply a member of staff who has applied to become a mentor, has passed an interview and has successfully done his training or their training, and is there to help new people or people in the company to understand routes and understand how the business wants to operate. So there are 2 types of mentorees that we get. We get mentorees from the academy, who are drivers who have just passed their license and come out with us for about a week and a bit. Usually about 2 weeks, depending upon how many routes we have to learn or how comfortable they're feeling. And then we get users with a license who come with us and spend about a week with us for a user, week and a bit, depending again on how they feel. We show them all about the depot, all about the yard, all about the type of vehicles that we drive. We've got like a checklist that we have to go off. Now, I don't have the checklist with me. Well, I do have a similar checklist. No, actually, no. I do have a checklist with me. But it's a more in-depth checklist. This is a blank one. This is what they get. Every driver when they start at the academy will get one of these and a mentor pack. So, I had a young gentleman last week from Stagecoach. I'm not going to mention his name because we don't record or talk about them and their experiences. And basically, we go through this checklist with them. So normally we'll give them the depot tour, walk around the depot, show them where the fire points are, where the fueling station is, where we can't smoke, show them things like the cashing in machine, show them the engineering changing rooms, the engineering locker rooms, engineering department. Talk about who has the CCTV, rights to CCTV, who you speak to if you've got a change issue, who you speak to about your day-to-day runnings and duties. So obviously the duty managers, we call them DMs for short. And then we take them down to Blackburn and show them Blackburn bus station, where the DMs live, and introduce them to Imtiaz, our allocator, or Mohammed, the other allocator. You've met Mohammed on the videos sometimes. Mohammed covers Imtiaz. Imtiaz is the main allocator. And then obviously we introduce them to Frank, who's the general manager, and then Travis, who is the service manager. Occasionally these gentlemen or women will join the business and they will get that introduction from Travis or Frank, because sometimes they join on a Friday afternoon or a Thursday afternoon, and myself, Carly, or the other 2 mentors are not around. Other 3 mentors are not around. There are 5 mentors at Blackburn. Myself and Carly are the Rosendale Transport mentors, but we are trained on Blackburn routes as well. I'm trained on more. Carly hasn't had a lot of time yet to train up on most of the Blackburn routes, but we are working together to train each other to get to the Blackburn routes. So in the mentor pack, what we tend to do is obviously show things like door codes, staff parking, staff bus, the procedures around parking, notice boards, stuff like that. It's all the little bits of information that members of staff need to know for basically the first day getting to grips, how to contact people, what to do if there's an oil spillage in the parking ways on the walkways. It does happen. So yeah, we do a lot of that. Location of where the bins are, where the walkways are. That's something that a lot of people don't realise. We have specific walkways around the bus yard and specific direction we should walk. And then after that, it's basically all about vehicle familiarisation and route learning. So obviously, I'm a 464 driver. Most drivers that join Blackburn Transport or Rosendale Transport will be put onto Rosso and will come out to do the 464 with us lot. So we basically go through the route variations of the 464 and we train as much as we can. Most likely the allocator at the time will give us like a Bacup, Haslingden Rawtenstall, Rochdale starts, and vice versa. Rochdale finish, Bacup finish, Haslingden finish. We don't really finish at Rawtenstall as much unless we're on a Sunday, and it's basically to train for like dead routes and procedures on how to get to and from these places. Because believe it or not, the buses don't just start at Accrington and Rochdale; they start in between. So we go through all that with them. The major thing that we go through is, like, the biggest thing for me is vehicle familiarization. We have a lot of different variants of stock on the 464. We have the 464 Purple versus the Blackburn versus. So there are slight differences and nuances between the two verses, from control panels to gear selectors. So we go through all that, and then we train, give 20 minutes instruction time or 10 minutes instruction time, and then we basically take them out on with that vehicle, and then obviously an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending upon how long they're on there for. So yeah, we do a lot of, that's the bit I really enjoy, is the vehicle familiarization. It's taking them on those vehicles and basically getting them to understand where everything is, what's going on. The other part of the thing I really enjoy is all about the route itself. The route the 464 is fantastic. Really love the route to drive, but it is a very unforgiving route, and we say that because it is time orientated, and not just time orientated, it is very space orientated. So there's a lot of places where we're not driving instructors. We're never driving instructors. We are mentors, and what we do is we give feedback and we give instructions. So like I'll say, coming out of Rawtenstall, you want to be over to the right hand side if you're turning left to head to Bacup, because it gives you more area to swing, and as you come out you want to sort of V the corner off. Might give that direction. It's not I'm telling you how to drive, it's just giving you a bit of feedback on how I would take the corner. And again, I would say coming out of Rawtenstall to turn right, you want to be on the second yellow line, which is, so there's some yellow lines, but then there's like little hatchings, little yellow lines that go onto the curb. And I will say you want to be on the second one or the third. So there's 1, 2, stay there. And again, you want to just V the corner off. So you take the corner as like a V shape, so it's like you're at this angle, and then you're going to take it like a V round the corner at a 90-degree angle, just to make sure that you watch out for the lamp post and the back post. We obviously have to do a lot of work around the ticket machine. The ticket machine is very bit of a problem where drivers do struggle, unfortunately. We have a lot of tickets, and I think I've talked about this in previous videos up here, about being a bus driver. There is home, main, so we can get this right, Blackburn tickets, Rosendale tickets, Lancashire tickets, System 1, Flash, Gold, day ticket. They're all the tickets that we have to sell, and then miscellaneous and stuff like that. So we have to sort of like give the drivers understandings of where the boundary lines are. I've got a video coming about boundary lines. I'm still working on it, but boundary lines are one of the hardest things to understand, because believe it or not, you can get a Blackburn ticket on a 464 bus. You can use a Blackburn ticket on a 464 bus, but that's only from Rising Bridge to Accrington. You can't technically use a Rosendale ticket to Blackburn from Accrington to get to Blackburn, but you can use a Rosendale ticket to get from Rosendale to Blackburn via the 481. So a lot of confusion goes around about how people are going to do it, and it even stumps for some of us drivers, because I always get people saying to me, "I want to get to Blackburn," and I'm always like, "Ooh, you want to get a Lancashire ticket then, 6 and 7, because you're going to get the 6 and 7." I'm like, "Oh well, I want to go to the hospital." Sorry, I want to go to the hospital, and I'm like, that's a difficult one then, because the 59 runs from Blackburn. That's a Stagecoach bus, and it's faster than the Irwell. So it's always a case of trying to find out what's best for the customer. We don't want mentors running away with that. We'll teach that over the week, and then we'll continue to teach it over the year that they're with us. Mentors, even though we have you for like a week or 2 weeks, we don't stop being mentors. Our phones are on 24/7 for you to text and talk about it. So when it comes to the route familiarization, what we do is we talk about the variants of the route, and obviously the 464 is like kind of a straight road, but there are variants of the 464. Does the bus only go to Bacup? Right, so how do we turn around at Bacup? How do we get back facing the right way? So in the morning, some buses will start at Bacup, some buses will terminate at Bacup, which is also a problem. So how do you go about making sure your bus is in the right position? So we do talk about these variants, and we'll say like, right, we have to turn down Union Street, take the full line down Union Street, hold the middle of the road, take it up, turn left, back onto St James's Square or St James's Road, and then turn left back onto our normal route. And it's just things like that, or how to get to Rochdale the fastest. We use Old Bets as our example. So we have to train practically in the dark sometimes on how to use the vehicles in scenarios where people will struggle. So yeah, that's kind of a big part of the job. Again, when we're doing it, we're also teaching braking points. So we're like saying, okay, you braked a little bit early there. Again, we're not driving instructors. We're just people with a lot of knowledge on driving these routes where you want to put like your braking down. So some people might overrun things. We do get drivers that overrun it. We get drivers that are quite short to it. We're always aiming, as bus drivers, we're meant to always be aiming for what we call the red step. And you'll see that you'll see that on a bus stand. There's 2 yellow bits of platform, and there's always a red bit in the middle, and we're aiming for that. So it's kind of like when you're training with me, I'm like, the idea is I'm your big brother or your little brother, depending on your age. I'm trying to help you get the best information from the route. So I'm trying to like teach you how to do what I do every single day of the week. And it can be sometimes a little bit difficult, especially if you've got someone who's been doing it for 40 years or 20 years or 30 years. They don't mean to be, they have their way of doing things, and they will take that maybe offensively, or they'll take it, they'll be upset with it, or they're like, this guy joking, he's only been driving 2 years, how can he tell me? We don't, it doesn't bother us as mentors, it doesn't frustrate us, but we're just trying to help you. We're just trying to give you that guiding hand. We're trying to hold your hand and walk you through it. Some of the things I've got written down on the checklist is obviously quick checks explained. So we go through all the first 2 days. I will lead everything normally. I will lead how to drive the vehicle, where to brake, what the name of the timing points are, what the name of every stop is. It can get a bit tiring for a lot of people. So the first day on a 7-day program, the first day I will lead. And what I normally talk about is obviously quick checks. So I talk about how we check the bus in the morning, what we're looking for, what we're after, and I even put in my own little bits of that, because like I always test the fire door with just like leaning on it. I always do a little lean test on the fire door. Talk about driving standards and how important it is to maintain good driving standards. Now, I'm not saying a lot of drivers don't maintain good driving standards, but when you've been driving for 20, 30 years, you do pick up kind of some habits. So we try to maintain good driving standards, so that be like making sure you're not 6 foot away from the curb, making sure you stop at the bus stop in time, making sure you give the little old lady enough time to sit down. We'll go into stuff like how to lower the bus, how to use the ramp. All our buses, apart from a certain select of double deckers, are all manual ramps, so we show that. We train how to test that every morning. That comes under the vehicle checklist. The use of disabled bays, and obviously when they're available. We also go through what the bell sounds like for disabled people, what a disabled bell press sounds like, because a lot of people know what a bell sounds like. They've just never heard the disabled alarm in a different type of vehicle. Every vehicle is slightly different. We'll talk about the speed limits in the garage and the hazards in the garage, and when to wear high vis. A lot of our time is taken up with ticket machine training and passes. As I said to you, we have a lot of tickets, and understanding where those tickets actually work, how to deal with jams and errors, how to buy an annual season ticket, what do we do when the card reader's not working, how do we flash people on, how to enter free stages, how to sign on and off the machine, how to set it up. So there's a lot of stuff like that. We go through a lot of time with Ticketer trying to train those information. And obviously, we're making sure they're giving out the right information. So we give company procedures and notices and policies and contact numbers. So when we're on the bus with those mentors, we might be sat there looking like we're out of phones. A lot of times you might see us, personally, you see us like this, looking down at our phone. Now, what I tend to be doing with my mentors is I do like a buddy system. So I am watching bustimes.org to see where the next bus is. because I don't want the bus catching us. I want to make sure that we've got enough space for the driver. Obviously, you can imagine it can be kind of daunting when you're a new driver to get to Rochdale and back with 15 minutes of service not catching you up. So I'm checking that service all the time. I'm making sure like there's nothing behind us, there's nothing coming to us, that we're running roughly on time, and that is the big sort of what I'm doing. I'm also taking notes as well. So I'll be taking notes of driver struggled with X, Y, and Z. Couldn't get ticket machine to print out ticket. Struggled with X, Y, and Z again. And I'm making quick notes on my phone so that I've got feedback to give to that driver. A lot of the time we're not giving out like telling people off. We're not in that business. There's no business of telling people off. We're in the business of creating strong people who can basically drive a vehicle effectively and safely. So we'll be like saying like, hey, what's your speed? What's your position? Can you mind this? Can you mind that? And it's all basically just giving those little bits of like hints of what we do on a day-to-day basis. You can imagine we can almost drive this route with our eyes closed. We wouldn't, but we can because of the amount of time we spend on it. So yeah, that's basically a little bit about the mentorship, what we do. If you've got any questions or you want to know more about mentoring and how we go about it, then let me know in the comments below. It's a little bit of a different video this week. Like I said, being off the road, I've not been able to record. I had Sunday on the road on my own, and it was a bit different. So I just couldn't really, I didn't really get time to sit down and record. Video, sorry, I do apologise. I'll probably cut that out. The videos are going back to normal. We're doing more gaming as well. I've got a few gaming videos to put up this week. It's just been a bit of a busy week. I've been working nights. I've been working evenings, and I'm just going to do a quick D-log, quick debrief on what's been going on nights. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video about mentoring, what it takes to be a mentor. Well, kindness really. Kindness and patience. What it takes to be a mentor. I've mentioned that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you've got any questions, just let us know in the comments below.